Okay. We are live. I don't know who else is in the chat right now, but we're back on the M3 Max. And if you look at my overhead camera, we have a bunch of stuff on the table. And as the chat at the top says right here, let's hopefully set up a B-roll shoot. So this is going to be a whole thing today. I don't know how long I'm going to stay on, but we are going to do our absolute best here. It looks like I got everything working off the hop. Let me know if you can hear me if you are in chat. I've just got this previewed. I'm assuming everything is working at the moment. Here, let's just gonna turn myself up for a sec. I've just got this previewed. Yeah, looks good. And Simulator Adventures in hello, can hear you, all is good. Hashtag. Awesome. Great. Okay, so if you look at the table, let's go back to it for a second. We have our MacBook Neo, which confession time, this is absolutely definitely getting returned. I gotta send it back by I think Wednesday. But I've played around with it. I've got some stuff. I'm working on a video for it. Something that I haven't seen done anywhere. There's a couple of things I want to try with this, so that is pretty cool. Let's see. What did Simulator Adventure say? Haha, I'm on an unfamiliar keyboard. My old one broke. Oh, that's the worst. I hate when that happens. Definitely have been there. I don't know what is going on. So the stream seems okay. The stream setup seems okay. My displays, on the other hand, are being nightmarish. Yeah, it keeps moving my display and it keeps moving my dock around. You know, on just a total side rant for a second. Did you know that on macOS, here, I can actually show you. One moment. Here. So on macOS, you can see the bottom here, this dock. Okay, now if I go up to my other monitor, which isn't showing up here, I can move the dock over to the other monitor. But it just does it when it feels like it. And it's super annoying. And to fix it, there's an app that will lock the dock to a monitor if you so choose. But the problem is the app is $50 Canadian. I get it that it's like it's attached to your iCloud and all that, and that's all good. But the problem for me is like $50 for something so simple. It's like, on one side, Apple doesn't do stuff like that. I think their whole thing is like, well, let people build an app and monetize it, which sure. But like, there are other stupidity. There's other stupid things in macOS. Like when you copy something, it doesn't tell you how many megabytes a second. You have to get like a third-party app for that, which is stupid. Anyway, I'm gonna go back to the table for a second. So if you saw the title of this stream, the title is Quick One Today, Let's Chat While I Prep a B-Roll Shoot. So the B-Roll is going to be of our MacBook Neo. But I got a bunch of stuff here that we're gonna need. And if you didn't notice, looking behind me, we have this robotic monstrosity. I've talked to some people about it. It's called the Edelkrone Jib System. And it's got a lot of components to it. Euronation's in the chat and says, what's with the lack of Android phone options with carrier nowadays? Google, Samsung, and that's it. I don't know. I'm not an Android guy. I can't tell you that. I think the other brands like OnePlus, Nothing, Those brands just haven't struck carrier deals, maybe because they're not big enough, or I know LG's out of the picture now, like they don't do anything. So yeah, that's my answer for that. I'm not totally sure. I mean, it's kind of a monopoly in its own right. I mean, the Google Pixel is what it is. The Samsung S20, whatever the hell they're on, the iPhone 18 or 17 Pro Max, 18 this year. Simulator Adventure says that thing is crazy. Oh, you have no idea. This thing, this setup literally keeps me awake at night. It drives me absolutely nuts. But some of the stuff you can pull off with it is insane. But here, so we've got all this. My phone's here for a reason, actually, before Mark Harnum decides to call me, because he does that when I'm streaming. Put my phone in Do Not Disturb. Yeah, so we've got all this here, but then if we go back to here, it gets worse. So there's a lot of components to this, right? Some of which is tangled. So we'll start here at the base. Okay, so this is the Pan Pro. It attaches to a tripod and allows this whole thing to turn. And we have a DC cable, which that's where these things come in handy. But anyway, so we got our Pan Pro. We have the original version of the Edelkrone jib system, which is threaded on here. And then we have the jib itself, which is this long thing. And it's actually kind of intuitive. I don't think you're going to see this part on camera. No, you're not. I have to turn this way. So on the back, can I clear this without destroying everything? Okay, this is going to be a little hard to see. We've got these counterweights, which actually thread on with like these thumb screws. And then we have a tension adjustment and the kind of just in frame, this little knob here. It's called the Do Not Touch knob. I'm not even joking. That's what the company calls it. Basically, you do not touch it. But then it doesn't work without some kind of something to mount your camera to, which is where this wired monstrosity comes into play. And it cannot be less complicated than this to pull this off. So this is called the Edelkrone Head 1 V3. I love company names. And it's actually mounted upside down for a reason, because we have this little thread thing at the top. And what this does is it will spin spin the head. Okay, this thing needs power though, so we have a NP battery, a Sony battery right here, which is USB-C chargeable, thank God. But it also has a USB-C port on this side for charging, but then you've got USB-A under here. And nice little feature is if you tap this thing, it actually shows you the percentage of how much battery's left, which is kind of sick. And then it has a DC cable, which we'll plug in here. We're not going to plug that in yet because we need to assemble it. And then I've got this extra USB cable because for my lens, I have a light. The things you do for content creation. Now, on the other side, you have this Ethernet jack, which I'm going to explain what that is. I'll explain it now. This is extended to this cable, which goes to this. This is a follow focus motor. The follow focus motor, as you can see, it spins. And what happens is this blue thing on my lens, you can see it, it's a gear ring. It's a 3D printed gear ring from followfocusgears.com. And you set this thing to manual focus, because one thing that drives me absolutely crazy is that people shoot B-roll of their products and they put it in autofocus and it's a hot mess, and then it's like pulsing and all that. So when the camera comes down, it kind of attaches to this. You can see it. And when this thing spins, it actually spins the focus ring. And you can program it. It's all Bluetooth. Like, it all programs through your phone, which is nuts. And then this thing will turn and it will tilt. And the jib, when it's unlocked, I'm not going to unlock it now because it's going to fly everywhere because it's balanced for this camera setup. Yeah. And then I set up a scene here. Let's see if this is going to work. So you're going to see a test pattern for a moment. This is the jib, right? This is the HDMI. Yeah. And then Simulator Adventures asks, so you can create camera paths and things like that. That's exactly what it is. So basically, I can set this for zoom, but I'd rather have it on focus because I want things to be tack sharp. So you could basically have it where like it comes down, and then the jib has like a little play, it can go up and down, and then left and right. That's why this thing's so complicated. Okay, so the jib itself, like this rail here, can actually go vertically. If you don't have the Pan Pro, it can only, if you don't have this unit, it can only go one way. Otherwise, you have to like undo this and then turn it, and then it can go horizontal. But when you have the Pan Pro handles your x-axis, and then your jib, you set it to Y, and it'll go up and down, and then it can kind of swing around and do stuff. And it's all ran on this battery, this chunky small rig battery, which, like the NP battery, this is a V-mount battery, right? And if I press the button, you will see that we have a full battery, 100%, and that is pretty cool. So basically, how this works, this is a V-mount plate, okay? So let me overhead this. Right, so the battery will clip into here like so, right? And then you just basically turn it on. And then on each side of this plate, you've got these DC outs. That's what this cable's for, right? You got 4 DC outs and a D-tap on one side, right? And then you have this button here, which will just eventually unlock the battery, right? So yeah, basically, the way I like to do it is the Pan Pro needs the DC link, which is another DC cable, which is going to slot into one of these ports, like so. The jib needs this cable, and on the back of it, we have this little mounting plate. So the battery V-mount plate comes like this. It's kind of smart how they did it. So you basically, you chuck this in, and you basically screw this in. Simulator Adventures in with a comment. I never put thought into how tech video B-roll is created. This is a lot to take in. Oh yeah, this is like the tip of the iceberg. You know what's crazy is I have another version of this head. I have the older version, and it doesn't have the follow focus motor. I have to rely on autofocus. But like I have that and a tripod, and I have it by my door. And when I go out, if I'm gonna shoot B-roll, I've taken this thing to coffee shops. I've taken it to Starbucks and shot, and like I'll spend like an hour setting it up to shoot like 10 seconds of B-roll. So like a lot of people don't realize what goes into making B-roll. And like, you know, when anybody tells you that YouTube is easy, yeah, okay. It's a whole thing. So yeah, so let me just unplug all this. But now we get to do the fun part. We get to put the camera together. And I'm actually going to leave your comment on screen, Simulator, because I really do appreciate it. Oh, and then we can use our funky scene change, like this thing. By the way, last week I was streaming with the MacBook Neo, and it was good, but I seriously appreciate having my M3 Max back. Like, this thing definitely feels a lot better. I don't hear the fans going crazy like I did with the MacBook Neo. I think it's a good machine. I just don't think it's for me. It's a little underpowered for what I need, and I don't want to be in that situation where you know, you're what's it called? You're just collecting e-waste in your basement, right? It's a waste of money, it's a waste of resources, and besides, like, something I'll say about the MacBook Neo as well is that if I return it, it's going to end up on Apple's refurb store, and if you've ever shopped on Apple's refurb store, they do very diligent testing. I've seen refurb computers that have lasted longer than like factory fresh ones that came from Apple's refurb store, and they sell it cheaper than retail. So this is going to end up in somebody's lucky grubby hands. I don't know if they're grubby. I'm not here to judge people. Anyway, so anyway, here let's do this. So we got our camera, we got our V-mount. Actually, speaking of batteries, this camera, this is the S5 Mark II. It's the same model of camera that we're using for our B-roll. And for anybody who cares, I'm using a Panasonic GH5 Mark II as my overhead. Sorry, yes, you're right. My brain's broken. You're absolutely right. MacBook Neo does not have fans. I'm ridiculous. Yeah, I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. I mean, like, it's not throttling like the Neo is. That's what I meant to say. Wow. What a day. Anyway, what I was saying before I made that mistake, yeah, MacBook Neo doesn't have fans. It will throttle. And also RAM problems because it's only got 8 gigs, right? Yeah, Simulator Adventures. Thank you for the correction, by the way. Thanks for checking me because I had that wrong. So, the one thing about the camera, S5 Mark II, battery life on this thing is awful. So, I'm just going to change out my batteries. So these are small rig BLK22 batteries. And the good thing is, I have like a bunch of these. I have like 3 or 4 of them. They charge via USB-C. You can see that there at the top, right? So I'm just gonna plug you back in because I know I just finished charging this one. And I've got a Lumix. What lens is this? This is the Lumix 28-70, I believe f4 to f7.1. The reason I got this lens, I know it's 28-200 and you can do some like crazy like punch in like that. But the crazy thing about this lens is if I leave it at its minimum focal length at 28 millimeter, and I get like this close, negating light because you're going to get a shadow from the lens itself, it will actually focus on the small rig logo that's right on the front of this, which is kind of sick. So we are going to use this lens. This has been like my go-to because like when I shoot B-roll, I have a lot of light. Like I'm invested in lighting. So I'm just going to do this on camera. So first we are going to uncover the sensor, take our lens, line it up. Okay, cool. That is ready. Now the problem is, let me go back to this shot here. The camera is going to mount about here, but then I don't have a lot of clearance on this side, and you'll notice that I have a cage with some locking screws on the side. So to combat this, let me find it. I have it here somewhere. Yeah. I have an HDMI cable, but I threw an adapter on it, right? So I actually chucked this adapter on it. So this is HDMI female to HDMI male, but you'll notice that this is a 90-degree connector. And the reason I got this connector is so that I can just chuck you in like that and it doesn't kink the cable or destroy the cable. I unfortunately didn't think of the same thing yet for a USB-C cable, which I'm actually going to plug in because, again, the battery life on this thing is terrible. And by the way, I'm setting this up and I'll show you guys exactly what you see and how you program it and all that wonderful stuff. So we've got all this set up and I'm just going to plug in HDMI. Okay, now let's go back to here. I don't know what I was thinking when I said to myself I was going to do this stream, but here we are. So we've got this little like, yeah, we've got this little like strap, Velcro strap. So basically you open it up. That's a lot of dust. You open it up and then you basically throw this around one of the legs of the tripod and you kind of loop it through and then you'll connect your camera or your V-mount plate after. So here, we'll do that now. So this here, we're going to chuck you here-ish. There's actually like one of those like faux leather legs or like covered legs on this side, which is probably more optimal for mounting this thing, but this will work. So yeah, it's not going anywhere. Right, now we take our plate, let's unscrew it, chuck you here, and there's a locking screw on the back to hold it in. Here's the thing about Edelkrone, like this company, they make such smart stuff, but man, when this thing falls apart, it falls apart. I'm hoping that like I can actually pull this off on stream. And then our V-mount battery, which is right here, it just clips on like so, and we're good. Let me move the iPad a little bit here. Okay, so yeah, you can kind of see it. Now the fun part. This is the bane of my existence. First, let me grab the jib cable. So this is your normal DC barrel plug, but I jumped on Amazon a long time ago and I just bought this right angle extension cable only because I just needed a little more. Whoops. Put you this way. I need just a little more length And it being 90 degrees made it a little helpful. So we'll just chuck that into the V-mount plate, right? Which you can't really see from that angle, but just trust me, it's plugged in. This one is for the Pan Pro. We will also put you in the V-mount plate like that, okay? So everything this V-mount battery is responsible for is now plugged in. There's just a switch on that little V-mount adapter. Let's see here. Right angles are a blessing, honestly. They should ship with more products, especially TVs. Preach. You know what the worst is? Is like when you buy a TV and you want to wall mount it, which is cool. Like if you have one of those articulating stands that will come out and pivot and all that. But then when you want to push it in, the risk of your cables getting destroyed is very high. I hope I set this up in a way that I can actually do this on camera, like in terms of setting it up, because this is a waste. So I've actually this is kind of set up from before. This is one of those like super, super, super thin HDMI cables. And the reason I got these, they're not great for like super high quality. I think they have like 8K cables now, which can do better. But the problem is the weight will definitely impact your ability to shoot and keep this thing balanced. And Simulator Adventure says, oh yeah, older TVs especially have almost no ports on the sidewall mounting. On the sidewall. Mounting those is a pain. Absolutely, yeah, it's a nightmare. So these little like 8K, it says these right angles are 8K. I don't believe that because you need those 8K cables to shoot in ProRes RAW. When I've tried to use like cables that were like that are rated that work shooting in like 6K RAW and all that, if I put it through this adapter, it trips out. So I don't know if I necessarily buy it. Also, it's such a high gauge. I think that's the term, high gauge cable. Like this is like super, super thin. So that causes a bit of a nuisance. So now let's have some fun. Oh, my famous last words. We're going to take our Ethernet, move you over there. You'll understand what the purpose of that is momentarily. So what we're going to do is we're going to mount our camera. Our camera on the bottom of the cage has a bunch of mounting points, 1/4-20 and such. Yeah, the small rig cages, they're beefy, but they're great. Here, so we'll just mount you up here. I was going to do a whole video on this Edelkrone stuff. But the problem is, one of my biggest issues with this company is that they'll do a software update and it basically breaks everything. Like, to the point that, like, when I say breaks everything, to the point that you have to ship this stuff back to them. And they're not exactly close. Like, they're in Turkey. So, yeah, they'll prepay the shipping, but, like, you're waiting on shipping times, customs, and all that, just because you did a software update. And they push, like, mandatory updates, which is super frustrating. So before I commit, I might have tangled myself up here. Uh-oh. Let's do this. Pull this. I just want to see, are we balanced? Okay, so it looks like we're actually balanced. And if I turn this, I don't know if you can see that on camera. Should take the lens cap off. That would be handy. Yeah, so it looks like this pin is actually moving when we move the lens, which is exactly what we want. So let's take our HDMI cable and plug you back in. This is going into a capture card that's feeding into my Wavelink Thunderbolt dock that I reviewed on the channel. Maybe if you want to see that, I can throw a link in the comments or description of this video. But yeah, so we've got... our camera is being powered. So if I were to turn the camera on, what does our feed look like? If I were to switch to... you know what would help immensely? It would help if I plugged in the HDMI cable that I just mentioned into the capture card. Ah, that's wild. It's a 10-foot cable, so that's fine. I'll just drop you there after. Okay, so I just want to see how this looks. If I were to look at the jib. Okay, so we're getting our on-screen display. Let me show you guys what I'm looking at. So that's what it looks like. We're getting our on-screen display, which is not optimal. But, ooh, it moves. It looks like a bit like tripods from War of the Worlds. Yeah, you should watch the beginning of the stream. Did your camera have fingerprints on it when you first bought it new? It did not, because the wonderful friends at Lumix know how to package a camera from the factory without sending it to creators and then trying to pass it off as brand new. I am not bitter, can you tell? I'm just turning off my info display. Right? And let me just, how do I put yes, let's put a LUT on. All right, that's how we're supposed to look. Okay, so if this worked on first setup, I'm gonna laugh really hard. By the way, when I'm switched to the jib, you guys can still hear me, right? Let me just throw this cable behind the desk. Let me know if you can still hear me. Yeah, about that. They did. So, Voodoo weightlifting. I think we talked about this last week. They sent me a new one, and I sent the other one back, and they're gonna just deny it. That's what it sounds like. That is super annoying. Maybe that's something I'll shoot with the jib as well, if we can get this working. So, speaking of getting it working, so I got my phone here. Let's actually, sorry, before I do that, let's power everything on. Right, so first we turn on the jib, and then this pan motor, in their infinite wisdom, they have a separate power button for it. Right, and then we have our DC cable right here, which should turn the head on because it's being powered by this battery. All right, so switch to my overhead. Let us go into the Edelkrone app. It is literally prompting me. I'm going to show you this. This is so funny. It wants me to upgrade, not update. Upgrade the Jib 1, like pay for a new one. Yeah, we are not doing that. So let me pull this out here. Whoops. All right, so let's switch back to my main camera. So I'm going to hit connect. And now it's going to ask me to select my lens. So this is where it gets a little tricky. Do I have to start over? I think I have to start over. One second, let me pull this. This is how you start over. You unplug cables, right? So let me plug it back in. Okay, so we plug this back in. Okay, this is kind of a hack for people who don't know. So I'm going to change my ISO settings because I don't need it to be like super crazy in terms of brightness. I just want to see, how am I looking? Okay, that's clean. That's cool. So this is kind of a hack to make the follow focus work, because these follow focus units, they want what's called a cinema lens. Now, cinema, like a typical mirrorless camera lens, uses what's called focus by wire. It's electronic. So this ring can spin infinitely, where a cinema lens has like what they call a hard stop. So what that means is when it gets to a point, it just locks, like it stops. They recommend using the follow focus unit with a cinema lens, but I do have a workaround. So what you do is you pull your lens all the way to what they call infinite, right? So that's like the furthest out you can focus, right? So now let's go back to our overhead camera and let's reconnect everything. It's going to bug me for which lens I want. I have a 28-200, which I programmed a while ago. And now if you look on here, you'll see this thing is spinning, it's spinning, it's spinning. I'm just going to grab it and it stops. Now it's going to ask me, am I on macro or infinity? Now it kind of spun towards macro. So we're going to choose macro. Oh, here, let me let's go back to Elgato for a second. We'll get to all this in a minute. What Elgato Phil wrote 2 days ago. I'm glad our team is taking care of you with a new device. What you and every customer are receiving is a brand new unit from our warehouses. Fucking liar. The simple fact is that the seals are breaking during shipping because they're a bit too thin, and we're improving. There is no cover on the keys or display in the box, so that's expected. Okay, Phil, explain the scratch marks. I don't know. The problem is every time I post about it or report on it, I get a bunch of like angry Elgato people who are like, "No, you're wrong," and they just like lose their minds. It's so stupid. But yeah, I don't know. I'll probably go on the thread. Maybe I'll do another video and just like scream at them and get like 1,000 dislikes on it. Engagement, baby. Okay. Anyway, let's go back to our app. So now we have our control center open. Now, I'm gonna, just to make this a little easier for you guys to see, I'm going to actually autofocus the camera. Try to center our phone. So we got some controls here, okay? And I'm actually going to switch over to the camera, which you're gonna notice right away, as soon as I switch to it, that we are way out of focus, right? Which is fine, okay? Now, to fix that, we have up here this little focus thing that if I turn it, it will turn this thing. And I don't know how well this is coming out on camera, right? When I'm turning, like I'm actually moving it. So we're going to switch to the jib and you can see for yourself, right? That as I turn this, we are getting in focus. If this was a cinema lens, I would say you could do this by hand and it would be all good. But simulation. Do you still recommend that Thunderbolt dock you mentioned? My laptop only supports Thunderbolt 4 anyway, and I will be plugging in a few cameras and webcams. So, to answer your question, that is the dock we're using right now to do this stream. Here's what's plugged into it. And I have a Thunderbolt hub connected to add extra stuff. So the Elgato prompter's on there. So we've got this camera. We've got our overhead camera, right? We've got our desktop, which is showing the stream, right? Well, that's just OBS doing OBS things, right? We have our iPad, which is being connected through the Wavelink hub over there to a capture card. Then we have the jib, which is also being connected. So do I recommend it? Absolutely. Let me go back to the jib here. So the first thing we can do is we can actually program our points, and you can see the focus is moving, which is pretty sick. But let's try something cool. I'm going to take this Lumix sensor cap and put you down right here. Now, on the jib itself, we got a locking pin. If I unlock it, I balanced this before, just so we weren't sitting here watching that. But as you can see, the jib can move around, which is kind of sick. So we can program points. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to bring our lens cap there. I've got my bottle of water. I don't know if this is going to work off the hop. I've got another lens right here, so we'll just put you there. All right, let's try this. So to do this, on here, we have slow, medium, fast for our focus pulling. I'm just eyeballing this right now. Hang on, let me see if I can full screen this so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. Right, so, get in focus. Switch you to slow. Right, and it will slowly focus. We do get a little bit of shake on the jib. You have to shoot at kind of a higher shutter speed to make that make that work, if that makes sense. Right, so we've got our shot here. So on the app, we'll program that. Okay. Now, I've got this lens over here, but you'll notice that when I move the jib and I kind of come over here, oh, it just happens to be in focus. Hang on, we'll move it. Yeah, we'll move it like there. That's fine. Okay, so that's out of focus, right? I'm not going to worry about like centering it. You'll get the idea. So go back on the phone. And now, because we're doing a further focus distance, we're actually going to slide forward until that's kind of in focus. Okay. And then I don't know, let's put the MacBook Neo in the shot. So let's put you over here, and let's turn you this way. And you know what? Let's make this a little harder on it. We'll put it over here. All right, and then we will use our focus to try to get you in focus. You can always do things like turn focus peaking on. That makes it a little bit easier. Yeah, I think that looks good. Yeah, that looks good. So we will lock that one. So now I'm just going to turn this up. Let's see if this actually works. So let's go to 0.1. I have it set to 47%. And it looks like that worked. That is in focus, right? We'll go over to 0.2. Can we get our lens cap in focus? How we looking? Look at that. That is sick. All right. And then we can go to 0.3. Let me get out of the way here. And our MacBook should now be in focus. Within reason. Okay. Wow. That was less painful than I thought. I spent about 40 minutes doing that. That tracks. Okay. So there are other things you can do. Let's see. Yeah, my buddy just texted me. I told him, yeah, I'm jumping on stream. And he was like, not answering. And now he's texting me during the stream saying, yo, I'll try to catch a stream. All right. The reason, like I said, the reason I use this lens for anybody who's watching this, if I were to bring a product really, really close, I can't extend the jib out anymore. I actually got to physically move it. Right, so if I were to turn the jib like this, typically with lenses, it's very hard to get a shot like this in focus with most lenses, but because the minimum focusing distance on this lens is like super, super close, I can actually use our app right here, trying to get this in shot, and I can bring you into focus. And that's actually kind of sick. So I'm going to program that. I'm just deleting the old points that I had. All right, so those are deleted. Okay, so we're going to set you as a point. Okay, and then let's say I want to turn the jib. Let's see here. If I were to turn my jib this way and show the overhead camera that is above, we can put you in focus. Yeah, a little behind the scenes. Right, my microphone's up here, and then my camera's over here. And let's just try to get that in focus. I know the shot's kind of blown out. But yeah, we got our second shot, which we switch over here. Okay. And then for our next shot, let's turn you this way, bring the jib like this, and bring it down, and I can show you I'll bring the iPad close here. Get a nice tight shot of the iPad. Okay, so if I bring the iPad in like that, you can see it. But again, we are completely out of focus. So let's go over here to our focus and we can bring you in a little closer. Let's see. That looks pretty cool. Whatever. I know it's a little bit out of focus like over here, but that's because we're doing a very thin plane of focus. So we'll switch back to this. Okay. All right. Now, oh, sorry. Let me do this. So now you can do what's called record motion. So I'm going to press record motion and press 0.1. and you guys can watch the robot move. I might have brought my iPad a little too close. Okay, and we'll go to point 2, which we are doing right here. So you'll see it's actually recording. Space age stuff. Yeah, it can be. It can be when it works, right? So it doesn't always work this well. This is actually kind of sick that it's working on stream. And I just went to point 3, so now it's recording point 3, which is the iPad. And if it got it right, it should be in focus, which it is, right? Switch back to our overhead, hit stop. And now if I press this back button, it should. All right, so it looks like it should be on the first point, right? So now I can play it, and basically, eventually, it's going to start, right? So we set to play it, right? All right, there's our lens. It gets kind of cool because you can pull off some really creative shots using this. But like in terms of like a BTS kind of thing, like it works pretty well, right? And then if I switch to my main, you'll see our camera's moving. What up, friend? How you doing? You're just moseying along, huh? It's a little jerky, but this is the thing, is like you gotta shoot at a high shutter speed and do stabilization in post, which is kind of sad that you pay all this money. These things are not cheap. Let me just put that out there. Also, I didn't clean up the cables, so like for all I know, the USB-C is snagging and it's causing some kind of grief in terms of the pull, like the stabilization. So for all I know, that could be the issue. So yeah, I can reset this thing here, so it should go back to our lens, like the top of our lens. Oh no, it made the first point the iPad. Okay, sure. There is another option, and I booted up the MacBook Neo, but we'll get to that in a minute. So I got another option here called Sequencer. And basically what this can do is you can set how long you want each movement to go. So let's just make it like 13 seconds on the first move. We'll make you like 9 seconds on the second move. We got our ramping options here. Then we have a loop button. So if I press back, this should, if it works, sometimes this ramping thing or this sequencer doesn't work properly. Okay, so it went back to the beginning, right? So we have our play button. So if I hit play, we go back to the jib. Oh, it's going to try to focus on the Apple symbol. Whoops, we'll do this. Oh, no, sorry. It's trying to focus on the camera. That's right. My brain's not happening today. But what's dope is if you're giving it enough power, and these batteries, like for the jib itself, last quite a long time, which is pretty dope. But you'll notice that when it gets to a certain point, it's actually going back up to the main camera because it's looping, like it's going back and forth, back and forth. So this is kind of cool. Yeah. I can't believe this is working on stream. Half the time when I try to do this alone, it's a disaster. But yeah, we've got the jibs working and it's pulling focus. It's got our lens. It might be a little bit off, but it's not like terrible. It's more than usable for footage. So that's pretty cool. So I can stop this now. But what I wanted to do is, before I dox myself, let me throw in my password. I don't know how long I'm going to be on stream today. Obviously, I've got some stuff to film. So I wanted to like kind of kill two birds. I'm not about animal abuse. That was a terrible joke. Oh yeah, I was saying about that dock app. This is incredible. I've got the MacBook Neo open, so let's switch over to our jib for a second. And I'm just going to adjust focus on this. I want to show you guys how stupid this is. Whoops. Sorry, I'm struggling with the app right now. Okay. So they're suggesting that you pay like $50 for this stupid app that lets you lock the dock to certain monitors, which is absolutely insane to me. There's another add-on piece which I don't have with me, but it basically screws on the thread right here, and it gives you extra light. And the reason you may want that is for a situation like this. If I were to turn the jib manually, you'll notice that the MacBook Neo keyboard in Apple's infinite wisdom is not backlit. So shooting that for product B-roll can be kind of annoying. If you'd indulge me for a second, maybe I'll just go get the light and I can show you guys how that works. So yeah, I see 4 people watching. Like I said, I don't think I'm going to be on stream super long. I just wanted to kind of kill 2 birds. This iPad is in the way. Yeah, so we've got our jib, everything's set up. It seems like it's actually functioning the way it's supposed to, which is super nice. I've got an experiment I'm going to do with the Neo that I haven't actually shot yet. That's why I wanted to set this up today. I've taken this thing apart and put it back together quite a few times, and it can be a nuisance or it can be magical. Today it's choosing to be magical, which is nice because normally it can be a nuisance. But I'm going to do the BRB thing, and I'm just going to go grab that light. So just bear with me 1 minute. I'll be right back. Mark says, DJ bathroom break. You know it. Mark, I don't know how much of this you saw with our good friend, the Jib over here. But the reason I took off for a second was to grab this light. Oh, and I have it set to the transition still. Whoops. Okay, so this light from SmallRig, what this is it screws on the front here because if I were to take the jib and look at the camera for a second, you'll notice you can't see the keyboard. The keyboard's not backlit on the MacBook Neo. But if you want to shoot like close up, you're not going to get a good shot, so you need to give it light. Now you could sit there with a tube light or another light and try to get the shot, or you can like angle the computer out to get light, but that's not going to work. So that's why I got this thing. So basically all this is, and I'm hoping that this balance will maintain. What I like about this is it's a 67 millimeter light that threads on. The upper balance is still good. And then because it's so thin, the battery on this light is awful. But we got this big old SmallRig battery here that's powering our head unit, which takes USB-A and USB-C. So I can actually power the light like that. And let's turn it on. All right, so we've got our light on. And that might be, oh, that's excessive, yeah. You can change your color temperature. I'm just going to leave it at 5600 Kelvin, right? We don't need crazy intensity. However, what I like about it is if I switch back over to our jib, let there be light. You know what? Maybe we do need some more intensity. Oops. That's color temperature. Now we can blast this with light. Very cool. We'll turn our screen brightness down on the Neo itself. Okay, awesome. So if I were to bring this closer and there, right, we can go back to our overhead camera. Let's just delete our points because this was the other setup. So I'm going to focus in on the keyboard as best that I possibly can. Now, obviously, I'm doing this on stream, so I'm not like going for like perfection. I actually got to dust the computer off because ambient dust kind of gets everywhere. So I kind of like this shot here with the control button, like it's in focus, but everything else is out of focus, right? And then you can move the jib and change the focus because I actually have the, I can't show it now. I have a focus motor on, Mark, if you haven't seen that. But here, let's go back to the jib. And let's shift you like over here. And if you want, you can actually see that I'm moving this by hand, right? So I'm going to bring it down like that. And we're getting, that's in focus. I forgot to mark the first point, so let's do that again. Hang on. We'll put it here. The only thing that sucks is like the lights in the shot, like it's in the reflection, but I mean, whatever, we're just demonstrating here, right? So if I go to the second point, if I press the button, it will automatically move to the second point that I programmed, right? And then we have this top row, which is out of focus, but because we have our focus motor, I can actually move you like that. And you know what? We'll just turn this just a touch like that. Yeah, this thing's kind of off balance. I'm gonna have to fine tune it, but basically, if I go here, and you got to do some stabilization in post, but I mean, it does look pretty sick once it's running, right? So we've got our robot. If we go back to our overhead camera, I've got these 3 points programmed. So I'm going to go into my sequencer and I'm going to set it so that like it's got like a smooth ramp. And we're going to make each point like, say, 28 seconds. That's fair. Okay, maybe 28 and 9 seconds, sure. So we're on our first point, and this is set to loop. This button right here signifies the loop. So if I press it, you'll notice that the robot is moving slowly, mind you. But if I switch to it, you could hit record. And the thing is, it looks pretty sick. Like if you make it really, really slow, what's dope about it is like you can pull off some crazy shots. And because it's programmed, it's almost identical in terms of like what points it's hitting. In fact, I have a shot I did of the MacBook Neo. I'm going to spoil it on stream for a second because I think the shot is pretty dope. Will it autoplay? Give me 1 second. While you're waiting for that, take a look at the jib. Okay, so I actually have a shot running on my iPad right now that I did beforehand. And I think it looks pretty damn incredible. And I will show it to you in just a moment. But yeah, that's our jib. It's running. So thank you. Okay, I'm gonna spoil something. Simulator Adventures, enjoy this one. In 3, 2, 1, go. This is a shot from a video coming that I shot with the jib when I first got the MacBook. This clip is like 20 minutes long, but the reason I love having the jib is watch this. See the smoke? It disappears. And then it kind of comes around like that. You see the Apple symbol. It's going to turn. Now, when you see green, what that means is that's where I come back in the frame. It's going to smoke back in the frame like that. So that's, oh yeah, and the neon Apple symbol is because I thought Neo. I have an idea of how I'm going to do that. But yeah, that's why I love this thing. And anybody who says, oh, thanks, I appreciate that a lot. Wow, looks like an official Apple marketing video. Thank you. Thank you. That means a lot. Like, considering that I don't have a lot of subs, and I don't think the jib, like this thing is going to get me a ton of subs. That's not why I bought it. Mark will tell you I'm such a nerd in terms of like filmmaking and video stuff. Filmmaking, that's a stretch. I'm not a filmmaker. But like in terms of video stuff, I'm kind of a nerd. This is for another video on the Neo. Yes. So the Neo, which here, let's switch back to it. Our Neo is actually getting returned this week. Only because I feel like it's a waste for me to keep it. I honestly believe that somebody's going to end up with a refurb, which is this one, and they're going to get it at a cheaper price, and it's going to be way more conducive to getting better use than what I'm going to do with it. Because to be honest, I've got this M3 Max that we're streaming on. I have an M4 Max in the studio, and I have an M5 iPad Pro, which is the iPad that you just saw the video playing on. And I think that the Neo becomes e-waste in my basement. It would be a waste. But I think it's a good thing if I'm returning it, because somebody will get it off the refurb store. And unlike Elgato, Apple will disclose that it was used. That one's for, where was he? Voodoo Weightlifting. Yeah, so basically, this one's going to end up on the refurb store. Someone's going to get it for cheaper, and they're going to make great use of it. Because I'm going to give a little spoiler about the Neo. This computer is so damn overkill. Like, this thing is incredibly overkill. And actually, while I have this running, here, let's close it for a moment. I'm going to just take your chat off the screen for a second. And we're going to go to our overhead for a moment. And I'm going to stop this loop. Right? Let's delete these points. Because I actually want to try something. How close can I get to the port with this light? When you say it's overkill, what do you mean? Or will that spoil the video? I don't think it's going to necessarily spoil the video. I think, sorry, I didn't even show the jib. Yeah, so this is the shot we're going to try to pull. I don't think it's going to spoil the video. I'll say this, that what this computer is designed for and what this computer can potentially do, and I'm putting like parentheses around potentially, this computer can do a lot. But there is a reason. I'm not going to tell that reason right now because that will spoil the video. But I think it's a fantastic computer for people who want to be productive. You can do some light content creation on it. I'm not going to dive more into that because, again, that's going to spoil the video. So we've got our USB ports here, and as you can see my feet. Hello, feet. You can see that we're out of focus, but we've got our wonderful app here. So I'm going to set you to slow focus, right? I'm going to go back to the jib, and I'm just going to pull it to get it close, right? So if we go back to the overhead, I'm pulling down on this little lever at the top. This is why I love this lens. It's shaking a little bit. It's because the focus motor is kind of jolting. I just want to see how much closer I can get to this port to really demonstrate like how insanely close this lens can get. That's just a standard size USB-C port. But like, yeah, that's insane. Like if I were to bring you up like this, yeah, like that's crazy. You know what we have here? This is I won't say a filmmaker trick. Use props. So I got another battery right here. So I'm gonna prop the MacBook on this battery, right? And let's take our jib again. Let's get nice and close. So I don't know, you can't see because the iPad, but that's how close I am right now. Like I have about this much room between the two, right? And look at that. Like we're close, but we're not focused. But that's okay because all we have to do, we can actually get even closer. That's crazy. Here, let's get even closer. We're almost touching the lens. Bring it back. Like, that is absolutely insane. Look at that. Can I go a little lower with the jib? Yeah, you can get in and see. Let's get you more in focus. Okay, I think we've hit the point. Oh, there's a little nick on the side above the right port. Ew. That's interesting. Okay, well, whatever. Hopefully they let me return it. If not, I guess I've got myself a MacBook Neo, which is hilarious. Right, so now I'm going to move the jib this way. Let me just see what I am working with. There's our headphone jack and speaker, which is further out. So using our app, we're going to go further out like this. Just trying to get you in focus. These are not shots for the video. I'm just like messing around to make sure that everything's working before I do my critical shots. So we can get the speaker grill, which is nice. So let's mark that as our second point, right? And we come back to our jib. I don't know how well I can get inside the headphone jack, but here, let's try it. Oh, we were close. Nope, I think I'm way off. Let's see. Trying to manually turn this little thing. I can do it by hand, but I'm afraid I'll uncalibrate everything if I do it by hand. You know what? Here, let's cheat. You see all the scuff marks on the battery that's holding it up. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so go back to our overhead. Make that number 3. Okay. So now if I were to press 0.1, you will see it'll start moving, and hopefully it doesn't actually hit anything. But as you can see, we've got our ports back, right? Now, if I were to switch to this, we'll go to our sequencer. We're going to run this like super slow, like 50 seconds to get to the first point, and like a solid 40 seconds. No, we don't need it to be that long. We'll go like 10 seconds to get from the speaker grill over to the headphone port, right? So, and I have the looping setup right here on the bottom. So if I go back here and I press play, you'll watch the jib in front of me will start moving. Let's take a look at it. And we're getting a little bit of shake, but that's okay because like you can stabilize that out. Right? It's got like a very interesting subtle stepping motor. Right? This is extremely archaic, like using this little battery that's under it to hold it up. Like, people come up with smarter things. They'll wrap stuff in green tape and they'll green screen out the battery, like that kind of thing for a prop. But like, yeah, we're getting a clean shot. And I think we got our speaker grill, no problem. And now it should start tilting. And we're getting the inside of the headphone jack. Again, all this can be stabilized out. And we're getting a little bit of wobble because now it's trying to figure its path out to go back to the beginning. So now it's going to show the speaker again. Simulator Adventures. So as you've probably noticed, I've been switching scenes like nothing and everything's working. So again, I totally, completely recommend the Wavelink Thunderbolt 4 dock. It is a little pricey, but I've been using it for, I think, 2 years now. It lives on this table where I shoot videos and where I do the live streams from, and it's solid. I will say the Elgato Camlink doesn't like any Thunderbolt dock, CalDigit, Wavelink, any of those things. But yeah, this looks like it's working pretty damn well. I don't like that nick there though. That's gonna bother me. So hopefully that was kind of inspiring for the very few people that are watching. I'm not staying on super long. So oh yeah, to turn it all off, right? Kind of annoying, but here I'll just lift you here, right? Oh, you are tripping because you're still running. Whoops, as I nearly destroyed the motor. Okay, so we stopped the operation first in the app, and you can actually close the app at this point. What's cool is you can close the app and walk away if it's running a loop, and it'll just remember. So when you reopen the app, it'll reconnect, but it'll pick up where it left off. Right, so we've got our lights. Let's turn this off. Right, I can unplug that too. Right, to turn the head off, there is a button, but you can just pull the plug on it. And then the jib kind of comes up like this. There's like a locking pin on this side right here. And then the actual jib and the Pan Pro have a switch on that V-mount plate, so we'll just turn that off. And then we put you off to the side. Oh, and turn the camera off. That would be like super helpful. Yeah, so that's the jib. That's the whole setup. I was looking at it. It's pretty good for my use case. Does it have a USB-C port? Oh yeah, so it has one USB-C on the front. Another, you know what? Let me here. Let's get a little situated. Let me fix up this MacBook here. Are you attending the annual conference of Worldwide DJ Buddhas in? No. Euro Nation, stop pushing the point. I don't DJ anymore. I don't do gigs. Like, if you think that it's like funny to like, it's a more annoying than anything because I don't care to DJ anymore. I have like 2 things I have to do that are DJ related, but otherwise I really don't care. Let me see here. Let me find the Thunderbolt dock that I have. No, you're good. Just you know, I'm gonna say this nicely. You got to take a hint because this isn't the first or the 50th time I've told all of you that I'm not interested in this anymore. So that's all. No disrespect intended. Is what it is. So Simulator Adventures. You are asking if it has USB-C ports. I'm going to find the Thunderbolt 4 dock that I have, which is right here. So we will switch to desktop. All right. So on the back, this Thunderbolt, you've got a bunch of USB A's, right? And then on the front of it, you've got a USB-C port right here and a Thunderbolt upstream. Yeah, there's only one. Shoot. If you wanted more, let me see if I can find the adapters that I bought off Amazon. Do I have one free to show you? I do not. I thought I did. Hold on. This one is, you know what? Hang on. I can show you this one. So we go to my overhead. My overhead is not working. Why isn't my overhead working suddenly? One moment, please. Oh, you're overheating. That's fun. Hang on, let's see if it comes back. On Amazon UK, most of their docks are towers, which is okay. Hang on. I'm going to show you guys a little behind the scenes here. If I switch to my overhead, you're going to see the Lumix software beta thing coming up. Because it disconnected for some odd reason, and I'm not entirely sure why. Let's see. Can we come back? Okay, maybe not. That is so interesting. I don't know what the hell just happened. Huh. All right. I guess that's not happening. But here, I don't know if I can show this. This is one of those USB A to C. C is the female side, and then A is the side that goes in. So what I would say is you would plug that into one of these. Like you've got a 10 gig USB A port here, and then you've got a bunch of 5 gigs and another 10 gig there. If you wanted extra USB Cs, that's how you would do it. But I mean, you still have like the one on the front, which can also do power delivery up to 30 watts. That's the same dock I'm using off to the side right here. So yeah, there's that. And for 2 front-facing USB-C ports, so I can connect my. Okay, so without making much fuss. So yeah, the way I do it is I would literally. So what did I unplug? I think I unplugged my capture card for the iPad, right? So this thing is USB-C, right? But I've only got the one USB-C port on the front, and I'm using it for something else. But basically, I just plug this into here, and I plug it to USB-A, and plug you back in, and let me just double check. Yep, that was the iPad. So switches back to our iPad, and we're good. Yeah, that's my advice. Let me see if I can find that adapter for you. They're not that expensive. You're in the UK, you said? Let me see here. USB A or USB C to USB A. Let me find the exact ones I used. High speed. Anchor makes them. I'm on the Canadian website right now, but here, let me see what I can find for you in the meantime. USB-C female to USB-A high speed. High speed data transfer. No, that's the other way around. Yeah, I don't have my purchase history on this computer. Shoot, I don't know which one to send you. So it's something like this one, but see, it's something like this, but this is only USB 2. You want USB 3 at least. Let me see here. You want the male end to male USB-A. I'm really hoping I can find you something here. So yeah, it depends on the adapter. So you know what? Here, I'm gonna do this. Can I? You know what I might be able to do? I have an idea. I can pull my purchase history on my phone, get the model, airdrop that to the Mac. Just this without doxing myself, right? So, let me see here. Orders. USB, because I've been using these adapters for years, and like I've taken them to DJ gigs, and DJ gigs, like you want things, yeah, exactly. The data transfer rate on my 4K webcams is really high, which causes the issues, and that's the thing is like that's why you really want like a good adapter. So let me find you the exact one I use, because again, you're like literally is my iPad still work? Because the iPad is sending 4K 60, right? So again, this is coming through a capture card through that front port with that adapter, right? But again, look, we're fine, right? So I know the capture card works fine. That's one of those. What's the company called? Condor Blue. That's a Condor Blue. Okay, double-sided 10 gig USB-C to A. Okay, I found it. Okay. USB 3.2 to USB-C. Okay, found it. So let me send this. AirDrop. This is going to be fun, getting my AirDrop to work on a profile I don't normally use. Yikes. AirDrop from everyone. Okay. Why are you not working? AirDrop is not showing up. Sorry, just bear with me one sec. Turn AirDrop on. AirDrop to everyone. Did it pop up? Yes, it did. Okay, awesome. I'm just trying to get this link for you. Okay, got it. All right, so this is the adapter that I use typically, right? It's this one. Now it's amazon.uk. So wow. I'm like typing. I didn't get a lot of sleep, so I'm typing like a disaster right now. Oh, I think this is it. USB 3.1A, super speed data link. Those will work. Let me just compare it to the one I had here. Double side 10 gig USB 3.2. Oh, Ugreen. Oh, that's the other way. Hang on. Let's see what I can find here. Stage 17 Thunderbolt or go Thunderbolt if you can. Because so yeah, let me read the comment here. Yeah, I'm in that stage deciding between Thunderbolt docks or standard USB docks. My laptop has 3 USB 3.1 cable ports, so I have options. USB 3.2, sorry. I would definitely go with a Thunderbolt dock because you get access to the PCI Express bus, which just makes everything faster. If your laptop has Thunderbolt, then you're laughing. I'm just going to try to find, just bear with me here. Let me try something here. USB-A 3.2. I'm going to pull my screen back up in a second. This company have a store? Okay, here. Let's go to their store. Okay. So this is a pack of 2. Super speed. Okay, can reach up to 10 gig. Yeah, so this is what you want. A to C adapter. So you grab a pack of these and then you would grab, let me pull this up on Amazon UK. Okay, never mind. All right, so this is the one I would grab. And you know what? Here, I'm going to do you a solid here. And I'm going to put this in the chat. My desktops can't even handle the webcam. It's either bandwidth or a power shortage of the web. Oh, now that's interesting. So yeah. Okay, so it can work. There, I'll just put the. Oh, it's not letting me. Can you give me like a proper link, Amazon? Like, come on. The link's too long for the chat. Let me see if I can find this here. Yeah, your desktop's having issues in terms of the USB power delivery through the port. Your laptop will probably be better, but my thing is get a Thunderbolt dock. You shouldn't have the issue with a Thunderbolt dock. What kind of webcam is it? I'm just curious. Let me know in the chat. And then, honestly, like if nothing else, I'll probably jump off in a little bit. I have a 2019 motherboard and the USB-C port was just an afterthought. Yeah, I've been there. I get that. all the Amazon sites are different in terms of like how you can share links. I wish they would just make this easy. Add the basket. Oh, they moved it up there. Okay. Copy link. Link copied. Okay, so let me go into our chat. There we go. And just to make your life easier, I'm going to pin this. All right, so I put the Elgato Facecam 4K. Oh boy, yeah. Okay, so I'll tell you, there's the link, and I pinned it in the chat as well. Here's the only thing I'm going to tell you. The prompter and the Camlink 4K that I'm using right here, they really want a lot of power. I sort of regret getting it, but it's a 4K 60 frames per second 4K thing was a big deal for me. Hey, Kevin K, what's poppin'? You missed if you scroll back in the live stream, you missed me using the camera robot. Yeah, I'm gonna jump off shortly. Actually, I don't know if you're streaming right now, but I'm actually jumping off because I got a couple things I got to do, including filming some B-roll of this thing before I return it. I think my overhead camera fully overheated, which is always great to see. You love to see it. I'm gonna try to get it back. Oh, she's hot, boys. She's hot, boys. Hang on, let me try to turn this on. Yeah. Kevin, you shouldn't have shared it. I'm jumping off. Yeah. Kev, don't share it anymore. It's fine. I appreciate it, but like, if the audience isn't my core type of audience, then it's not really helping. That's just being honest. Yeah. Got my overhead working again. I don't know why it tripped out. That was weird. Yeah. But yeah, simulator, what I was saying is Elgato stuff wants a lot of power, and it can be annoying. I find that my Camlink, you'll notice it's plugged in here into the MacBook itself, right? We got our overhead camera back. I can switch to it. So if I go here, you'll notice the Camlink is plugged in right here with an Apple adapter. And the reason is because nothing that I've given it, it does not like, the Thunderbolt dock might not help you. Will the Camlink 4K work with Prompter XL? Is there a plate for it? I don't think so. I think you have to order the plate separately. Yeah. Magistry of Yasharel. I'm messing that up. Probably because the text is so small on my screen. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna jump off in a sec, but basically, before you order anything, honestly, try plugging your face cam into the laptop. See if it works just as is. That might be the way you have to do it. And then you have to kind of rethink what you're going to use Thunderbolt for. Because the problem is the USB spec. And in Elgato's infinite wisdom, and I don't know why they do this nonsense, but like, do I have it here? Yeah, I do. When they released this 4K 60S, okay, and I talked about this in the Prompter XL video, they put two USB-C ports, one for additional power and then one for the data connection. And why they don't put that on other things is beyond me, because the USB spec through Thunderbolt docks to give it extra power is not really a thing. And even then, like, I have a 30 gig port on the front of the wave, or sorry, not 30 gig, sorry. A 10 gigabit power delivery is, I can't remember offhand. Let me pull that up super quick. Yeah, the power delivery on the front is 30 watts on that USB-C port. The Camlink doesn't work on the Wavelink dock. Everything else works except that. And I find for Prompter didn't work either. So I had to put Prompter through like this Thunderbolt hub, which I actually already had because I actually needed to extend Thunderbolt. That's a good idea. And then I have capture card as well, which should work with the other port. Which capture card do you have? If it's a Camlink, maybe not. But if it's something like the what do they call it? If it's something like the Condor Blues, Elgato 4KX. Okay, now that's an external capture card. Does the Elgato 4KX have a separate power? Okay, I'm actually pulling up the 4KX. Let me look at the back of it. It has one power. Has one USB-C port. Oh wait, is that a barrel on the back? No, it's a headphone jack on the front. Elgato kills me. Yeah. No, it's all from one USB-C cable. Then I would okay, how many USB-C ports do you have on your laptop? What's going on in here today? Duke, you missed it. I'm leaving. I'm leaving in like 2 minutes. Turn notifications on. Because I started at 3. I start at 3 every Sunday now. Yeah, simulator. How many USB-C ports does your laptop have? Because you might want to do some testing before you commit to purchasing anything. You definitely want to... I love that everybody's jumping in now. Like, YouTube is so broken. I swear everybody's getting a notification now. Been on for like an hour and a half. Yeah, it's set to public. Yeah, fun times. Let's see here. Sorry you missed me. Okay. 2 Type-C and 2 Type-A. Okay, so then try your capture card. Okay, so you have 2 USB-C and you have a Thunderbolt, right? If I'm understanding that correctly, Simulator Adventures. You want to leave your Thunderbolt open, ideally. So if I understand it, you have 2 Type-A, 2 Type-C, and a Thunderbolt on that laptop. Because if you do, try the camera and the capture card in your 2 USB-C ports. Like, just try that. And if that works, okay, one of the USB-C is Thunderbolt. Oh. Okay. Okay, Plan W. That same adapter that I linked, that I pinned to the comment on this video, maybe they're low cost and they're worth having anyway to get more USB-C ports. Maybe order, it comes with 2, so order a pack of those. What are they, like? Were they 4 pounds? I think. I want to say it was 4 pounds. I could be wrong. $4.74, I believe. Here's the problem, is that Thunderbolt docks by nature, like the USB-C that's in the Thunderbolt dock, has a power limitation, and that's not Wavelength's fault. That's just the spec of USB-C. CalDigit will have the same problem. Like, some of them will have markings, and yes, you'll get extra wattage, but then it's at the sacrifice of data rate. It's super annoying. If I wanted to take my laptop and go somewhere, it would be a mess of wires to unplug. I agree. I would try... Okay. I would try the adapters, like the USB-C to A adapters that I linked in the comment. But then, if that works, then consider a Thunderbolt dock. I know the docks are pricey, but you get what you pay for. Like, this stream runs super well, but you know, it runs super well because I have a pricey dock, a pricey Thunderbolt dock, right? And I mean, try them with the... Yeah, I would try that. I would try it with both the camera connection and the capture card. Why not, right? At the end of the day, nothing's going to get harmed. If it's not going to work, it's just not going to work. And I'm assuming Amazon has a good return policy where you are. But again, I think those adapters are just worth keeping around. They come in like very, very handy. Yeah. So Duke, if you missed it, I'm returning my keyboard tomorrow with them. Haha, nice. yeah, Duke, if you missed it, I shot, or not shot, I set up the camera robot and we did some fun shots just messing around on stream, and you can always rewind and take a look at that. Just because I gotta go because I got a million things I gotta do today, and I didn't expect to be on even this long. I thought I'd be like an hour, but we're at an hour and a half, so whatever. Um, that looks pricey too. Yeah, it can be. If you scroll back and watch, you'll see. If you go to the beginning of the video, I kind of go through what it is, how it works, and then I complete the setup to shoot some B-roll. So yeah, it's all there. But that's how I shoot B-roll. That's how, the content creation thing is not as easy as people think it is. So there's that. But anyway, Simulator Adventures, I really hope that was insightful. I hope that helps in some capacity. So I'm not going to stay on longer because I got to run. I got like a whole bunch of stuff to do. But yeah, if you found this helpful, throw a like on it, I guess. And yeah, Duke, 3 p.m. Eastern, next Sunday, I'll be on. Yeah. And have a great week, Duke. Have a great week, Simulator Adventures. Thank you for your help. Have a great day and good luck with the recording. Yeah, I need it because I want to get this all done. Kevin K was here. Shout out to Kevin K. Thanks. You don't have to, again, don't throw it on Reddit. There's no point. Whatever. Euro Nation, what up? Thanks for jumping in. Mark Harnum was here. Thank you for jumping in. Voodoo Weightlifting, saw you in here earlier. Thank you for jumping in. There was another person that jumped in that was asking about the prompter. It was... Sorry, I'm just scrolling through chat, trying to find it. Cheers, Kev. And Duke says, have a good week. I can't find it. It was the person who... Oh, there it is. Your Majesty of Yasharal. I hope I'm saying that right. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. As always, yeah, it was a quick adjacent stream today, but I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much for coming in, and I will talk to you guys either in the comments on an upcoming video, which I am working on today, or I will talk to you on stream next week, 3 p.m. Eastern. So I will catch you guys very soon. Now to do the awkward pause and say peace while I turn stuff off. So I'm out. My name is Sean. This has been Tech Mixer, and I'm out, and I need to get more sleep because I am actually pretty tired. Anyway, later days. Peace.